Robert De Niro is at it again. Coach Colin news. I don't know what's going on with Robert De Niro. They pull him up to do Trump damage control / Trump bashing as much as they do, more than they do Hillary Clinton, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe he's the replacement. I don't know. Maybe Hillary stuff's getting old. They like Robert De Niro a little more, you know? You talking to me? Yeah, he's more of an icon than Hillary Clinton. So maybe that's what's going on. So, of course, Robert De Niro's talking about Trump. So we're going to hear comparisons of all sorts of things. Nazi Germany, Hitler, of course, Mussolini, that's new. And also the fact that he's going to call in the Body Snatchers. Are you guys aware that Trump's going to call in the Body Snatchers when he gets elected? I didn't hear that in Agenda 47. I did not hear that. Let Robert De Niro tell it, though. Let's get into it.
8 years, we've heard you talk about the former president. You have called him a fraud, a con artist. You've said he's a New Yorker like you, and you have watched this brand of BS for decades. And despite that, he became president. And now we're watching him 10 blocks from where we are right now, sitting in a courtroom as a criminal defendant. What do you think about that?
I think of how absurd it is. And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case. It's the least important in many ways, and yet it's the one that could be tried and finished in well enough time for people to just take that in.
Does it give you some sense, not of joy, but of relief at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences? Because as you've said before, this guy's a con artist and he's gotten away with it for years.
No, he's more than that to me. He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system. And I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency.
You've played a lot of bad.
I'm tired of calling him names, but listen, 7 more minutes, I'm going to call him some names, okay? Can you imagine he was about to say he's much more than that to me? I love him. I love him more than anything. You guys don't understand. He turned me down one time and I was like, how could you do this to me, Donald? And he said, I don't go that way. And I was like, Donald, how could you do this to me? Oh my gosh, he's sick. He's sick. I start to notice as Robert De Niro talks about Trump, it's always personal attacks. You'll never hear him mention anything about policy. You can't. You can't really. You really can't. If you're a clear thinking person, you know his policies weren't terrible. You know they weren't hateful. You know they weren't. He can't go into anything like that. It's always these personal attacks. And even when he was just talking about the case, it's something that could happen and finish in a time for people to take it in. And really, I don't know. It's so rough when I don't have a script. You know what I mean? And look how happy she was. How happy she was to say that. What do you think about that? You know, he's gonna get arrested. What do you really think about? Let's talk about Donald Trump. Look at her like he's saying something deep. I really understand what you're saying, Robert. I understand completely. What have they made? You know what the title of this is? Keynote Robert De Niro on Politics in America. What are you talking about? Man, that Dave Chappelle skit. What does Ja Rule think about all this? I need to know what Ja Rule thinks about all this. Robert De Niro is the new Ja Rule. What do I care what he has to say about Donald Trump? He just keeps calling him sick, and he never gives a reason. Never gave him one reason. Now, we're going to move on to the next clip. The next one, he actually touches on policy a little bit on this one. And then, of course, he doesn't know anything about that. You could not get Robert, even with a script in front of him, get him to talk about Trump's policies because he doesn't know any. But of course, he's tired of calling him names. So you get to listen to him call him Hitler, Mussolini, and a monster. Okay. Because that's what you do when you're tired of calling somebody's names. What do they have on him that he has to do this every few months? 8 years now. 8 years of this.
The presidency.
You've played a lot of bad guys. Would you ever play Donald Trump?
Never. There's nothing about him. There's not one redeeming thing in him that I can see ever. It's funny, I was just thinking that he actually became president. He could have done good things. Instead, he had to do it all wrong. He's so, as we all know, so narcissistic and self-centered.
What do you say to those who say, I don't like the guy, but I'm going to vote for him? What's your message to them?
I don't understand it. I don't think they understand how dangerous it will be if he ever, God forbid, becomes president. I don't think they really understand. And historically, from what I see, even in Nazi Germany, they had it with Hitler. They don't take him serious. He looks like a clown, acts like a clown. Mussolini, same thing. These guys, I don't know why, they look like clowns. They somehow, people, that element of society identifies in some ways with them, but it would be chaos beyond our imagination. There's no mystery about him. He's right out front, and what he says is what it'll be if he becomes president.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. It's beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
That's Robert De Niro's scared face. He's really scared. It's scary. He just keeps thinking of doing the most horrible thing. The most horrible things you can think of. He wants to close the border? What? Oh, with the Robert De Niro face? What? He wants to close the border? He wants to keep cartel members out of the country? These are the most horrible things a man could do. He's so narcissistic. Like, what is he taught? What is he trying to get? I wonder what MSNBC thinks that they're getting across when they do this. What do they think people are actually taking in? And I guess some people do listen to this and they just go, yeah, narcissistic, monster. Yeah, Hitler, Mussolini. Yeah. Like, maybe some people just hear the key words and they're just like, and that's it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's word association. I have no idea what they think is going on. And the thing is, it makes you wonder. In the first clip I just played, he said somehow he got into our system. You know what? It sounds like he means the system of the American people, the citizens. That's what it sounds like. But what does he mean when he says our system? You know? Because there was a lot of people that were happy he got into the system. Our system sounds like something else. Like somehow he got into this thing of ours. You know? Like Robert De Niro, a good fella. Like he got in somehow. Why is he here? You know, he's disrupting things. And then he says he could have done good things, but he just decided to do it all wrong. What did he do all wrong? You know what I mean? Like he did great things in his foreign policy, fantastic things. And there was no war. So what does he think? Like, what does De Niro think a president's supposed to do? Can you imagine you talk to De Niro and he just sees it a different way. He's like, listen, you're supposed to go to war. The border's supposed to be open. You know, if you got 350 million people by the end of the year, you should have 400 million people. I don't want anybody checked. There should be no voter ID. You know, is this America or not? Like maybe he's just nuts. You ever think of that? The one thing he said, very true. He said one true thing about Trump. Yeah, and I quote, he said, What he says is what it'll be. You're damn right, Robert. You're damn right. That is something that Robert and I can agree on 100%. What he says it will be, it will be. So when he talks about mass deportation and border security and stopping all the wars and everything, what he says it will be, it will be. And you know what's so weird? Another thing he just said, I'm going to move on to the next clip. But he just talked about like Hitler and Mussolini and all of them being clowns and people didn't take them seriously. Does he have any idea how history works? Are these things that he's looked into? Is that what he thinks? Everyone thought Hitler was a clown? Don't take him seriously. What do you think? They probably voted for the guy. Like, what? They were very, and that's the thing. He doesn't realize he's trying to look like he has this deep conviction in his face. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it seem like there's some deep conviction in what he's saying. But he doesn't realize how much he downplays things like that. What Hitler did, Mussolini. He doesn't realize how much he downplays it. Oh, they were clowns and people didn't take them seriously. What? People took them very seriously. They took them so seriously that they followed them and they did horrible things. And then like, what are you saying? Are you trying to suggest the protests of J6, or are you trying to suggest it's similar in the like, what are you thinking? I wish somebody would have a real conversation with him, an actual conversation. Let's move into the next clip. This is where you're going to hear about Trump being the bully in all of this between him and De Niro.
You have no upside in having this conversation, in speaking out against Donald Trump. You are making yourself a target. The interview will air and he will immediately find a reason to talk bad about you in public.
Yeah.
But you're choosing to use your platform to do so. What do you say to other celebrities who don't want to alienate part of their fan base, don't want to step in harm's way, but they have similar megaphones that you do?
You know, the idea to be bullied at my age by someone like this is not happening.
I'm pretty sure you were never bullied.
No, there was a kid sometime this, that, but the point is not, and for the country, no. And I think other people are going to have to stand up and just, because it's either that or you're going to find yourself in a situation that's so terrifying. We always hear about people from Eastern Europe, the Jews from other parts of Eastern Europe, from Western Europe, coming over. Look what happened in France with the Nazis and so on. And they come over, and you hear these, and when I was a kid, they'd say, "You don't really appreciate this country. You don't really appreciate what we know from experience." Imagine what those people went through. I'm just starting to see it. You know, as a kid, I said, Hitler, it's a nightmare that never would happen. But now I see that it's possible. And what those people, and sometimes I run into some people who are close to my age, who are from Eastern European countries, or even Nazi Germany, and you understand it.
Did you ever care this much about politics?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm sort of not indifferent, but not. It's
no, I'm not indifferent. You know, I'm part of the blackmailed party. What'd you say, Robert? Democrat. I said Democrat. No upside. The guy's a millionaire who's doing. Listen, you know what? Maybe there's no upside. Maybe there's some kind of upside or downside behind the scenes. There's something, because he's not doing this just because Trump is horrible and he's scared for Americans. That is not why he's doing this. 100% not why he's doing this. And let me tell you something. Those people, okay, those fictitious people that he just made up, obviously, who came to him when he was a kid, you know, that whole fabricated story he just told? Well, that story had some truth in it. Those imaginary kids that he was just making up, those ones that never existed, yeah, those ones, they were saying the truth. You don't appreciate this country. They were telling you the absolute truth, Robert. You don't appreciate this country at all. Not even a little bit. I'm glad those people you made up in your mind are speaking truth to you. Amazing. Oh, sometimes I run into people from the Eastern Europe and they're my age. And what are you talking about? Robert, stop it. You don't run into anybody. Sometimes I run into these people, Eastern Europe, my maid and my butler and, my chef. I think he's European. I don't know. I don't know. I don't talk to him. He's not allowed to talk to me. But when I see him, I look in his eyes. I can tell. I go, oh, that's because of Trump. I go, oh, Trump did that, right? It's from the childhood. And then he makes me eggs and I walk away, I fired him last week. You know what I mean? I had to get rid of him. Making me too sad. In his eyes with the Trump, oh, it was too much. And then he's talking about being bullied. Do you know how weird it is? How contorted the conversations he has is. He's been doing this to Trump for 8 years straight. Saying that he's going to punch him in the face. He actually gave a speech. It was a video that I did like a year or so ago. There was an actual anti-Trump rally. It was like a how do we stop Trump conference. It wasn't a rally. It was a conference. Like they paid money to have a building. There was actual seats for people. And they just there was panels of people talking about what they could do to stop Trump. Michael Cohen was there. It was ridiculous. And this guy gave a speech. This guy's been doing this for years. And he's like, I'm not getting bullied. No, you're not getting, you're right. You're not getting bullied. You're bullying somebody. Not that the guy cares, but you've just been doing it for almost a decade. You're putting a target on your back. It's been 8 years. There's nothing's gonna happen to Robert De Niro. Gee, this is what happens. The internet sees him and goes, oh, it's him again. Joe Rogan sees him and says, I can't believe it. Joe actually said that. He said, when I see Robert De Niro, he's like, I just turn off the TV. He's like, I can't watch. And it's true, right? Like, you're gonna go back. I can't go back watch Goodfellas. Oh, man. If Joe Pesci goes this way too, and listen, if he has, don't tell me in the comments. Don't do that. Don't tell me nothing about Tommy in the comments if he has gone this way. Please, I'm begging you, don't. I'm serious. But man, it's going to be hard to watch Goodfellas. I'm going to watch Departed now, knowing how this guy thinks. Sad. Let's get into the last clip. This is where the Body Snatchers are coming. Listen, guys, this is serious, okay? Trump's gonna call the Body Snatchers, okay? I'll let Robert tell you more about it.
About who Donald Trump was in 2016. You're a lifetime New Yorker, so is he, and you said the country does not realize who this fraudster is, and not enough people listened. Do you think they'll listen now?
I hope to God they do, because they don't. If it goes the other way, I keep saying this, you will see things that, like you'll see, it's like invasion of the Body Snatchers. You'll see people you knew or you thought you knew all of a sudden changing, all of a sudden going with that side, either for self-preservation, because they actually believe it, or they're deluding themselves or whatever. But then when that happens and you walk into a restaurant, you see people you used to know, and all of a sudden they're just not opposing it. They're going with the flow. And that's even more scary, insidious, I guess, if you say it like that, and ultimately just depressingly disappointing. There has to be a time when you have to say, okay, that's it. No, we're not doing that. We're not allowing that to happen. And this is the time in this country for that to happen. So,
then this moment is about decency and democracy to you?
It's decency and right
and wrong. The Body Snatchers it's gonna be invasion of the Body Snatchers. He's like, you're gonna walk into restaurants and you're gonna turn to your friend, you're gonna say, hey, Vinny. And all of a sudden, Vinny's face is going to fall off, and it's going to be Donald Trump. Oh, God. And his suit's going to come off, and it's going to be a Make America Great Again t-shirt. And you're going to go to your mother's house, and you're going to say, Mom, please, are you okay? And she's going to turn around, and she's going to be like, China. Oh, God. And her hair is going to be, oh, no. And your kids are going to be bearing Trump. They're going to grow 6 feet in the air, 7 feet, and they're going to be bearing Trump. And you're going to be like, oh my God. And then you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to be Ivanka. Oh no. Oh, it's going to be so bad. What is he talking about? What does he say? They're going to be going to that side because, you know, they're going with the flow. You know, it's going to be terrible. You're going to have friends who voted for who they wanted to vote for. And why can't we have the communism already? You know, if we had a dictator, he could take Trump out, but we need a dictator first. Is anybody with me here? Absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe she did that interview. She has to be thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? I had such big goals when I started. You know, I wanted to interview presidents and politicians. I wanted to break stories. And Robert De Niro's in front of her like, I'm scared. I'm so scared. And you should be too. He's a jerk. He's a monster. I don't know. I'm really scared. You're scared too, right? And she's like, She's like, Oh my gosh. And then you got to wrap it up. And then she gets paid millions of dollars. What the heck, man? I don't get how that works. Necessary evil. That's why they get paid so much. You ever notice that? That's the reason. That's why Don Lemon was like to Elon Musk. Like, I think I'm worth about $10 million. So you're Don Lemon. Nobody wants to hear from you. You know, $10 million, you know. So you're worth $10 million when you're a massive company that's financing the station that you work for, the outlet that you work for, and they need you to say things that prop them up. That's when you're worth $10 million to a $1 billion company, billions of dollars, and you're doing their bidding. That's when you become... Elon Musk is like, I just want you to do a show. You do it. Don Lemon's like, I need green M&Ms, and I need to know why you're such a white supremacist. Oh, man. And I'm here in my spare room. Elon, give me a show, man. What is this? What is this? Give me a show. I don't want a Tesla. I like a nice old car. I want an old Land Rover. That's what I want. No computers in my car. Okay? But give me a show. I'll do a show. I'll do a wild show. Anyways, guys. That's Robert De Niro. They dug him up again. Is this going to be an ongoing thing with Robert De Niro forever? Like, I don't know how old he is. I venture to say he's late 70s. He's just going to keep coming every single time. He's going to be 105. Let me tell you about this Baron Trump. He's the size of a skyscraper, and his eyes are piercing blue. And I tell you something, he's a jerk. He's like his father. He has his father's spirit inside of him, you know. And his father's spirit's controlling him. I hope that does happen, actually. That would actually be like, I'd be like, this is entertainment now. There's a certain point where you do it long enough and it's like, okay, Robert's back. Let's go, Robert. What do you got? Let me tell you a little ghost story about a man named Donald Trump. The scariest man you ever did see. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Dumb jokes, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm out.